Hey everybody, how's it going? End of my series started with my top five safeties. Um, Number one guy, University of Alabama, Mark Barron, a guy who, first of all, I'll start off with a guy who was a phenomenal football player, a guy who was a coach on the field, a very smart football player, intelligent, a guy who takes very good angles to the football, especially being a safety, run angles. He's a guy that tries to make plays on the ball. He's physical. Um, a guy that great on faster on tape than he really is. Great. He has very good ball skills. I think as a safety, smart. Like I said, smart football player. A guy who's a very good tackler. Uh, he's bona fide first round for me. He's a top 15 pick. He's a guy that will really help out your defense. Um, I think he'd be phenomenal for the Dallas Cowboys. If the Dallas Cowboys don't pick this guy up, I don't see where else they can go. That's their lock, I think, in my opinion. He does have some injury issues. He did had a couple of knee problems at Alabama, but you saw it in that he's just a bona fide leader. He was the bona fide leader of that defense for years. Both a part of both national championship teams. He's that guy that you're always expecting to see him around the football. He's guys always diagnosing the play, calling out the defense for the secondary. He's just a leader, and he's one of those guys that's going to be a very good to great football player for the rest of his career if he could stay if God forbid he could stay injury free. My number two guy is Harrison Smith from Notre Dame. Just like Mark Barron, very solid football player, a phenomenal tackler in my opinion. Has great ball skills. Had a couple years ago had about 7 or 8 interceptions. A guy who's very fast, who's actually faster on film than people expect that he is. A phenomenal tackler, like I said. Always finds a way. Always around the ball. If he takes a gamble, you know he's taking the right gamble. Reads his film, studies his tape, knows exactly what to line up, knows how to get other people lined up, and that's one of those guys that you would want as your last guy's defense on your team. Uh, he's not a phenomenal athlete like some of the other guys on this list are, but like I said, I think he's faster than he already is, and what he lacks in athleticism, his smarts, his IQ, his intangibles on the field will really help a team out. Guy who I think will thrive on special teams as soon as he gets into the league. I think he's a second round pick. But he's a guy that I really like on the football team going forward, and a guy who will eventually be a starter and a very good football player. My number three guy is Markel Martin from Oklahoma State. Uh, he's he's a hitter. That's the one thing I can say. He'll lay the big hit on you. He's a guy that has decent instincts. He's not a guy that I'll put out there as a free safety. I think that you'll get burned a lot from him. I think he'd be better as a guy who's a strong safety up in the box. Very good tackler, like I said. He'll lay the hammer on you. He's a guy that really that will try to knock you out. Very good cover guy. He's a decent cover guy in my opinion. Like I said, the guy will try to knock you out. He's not a playmaker, but he's a phenomenal football player, and I think he'll thrive on special teams, and he'll help a team out later in the later off rounds. My number four guy is Brandon Harden from Oregon State. A guy who has very nice awareness in zone coverage. I saw a lot of tape on him. He's a big safety. He's about 6'2", 225 pounds. Physical against the run, likes to stick his nose in there. The one thing that's really underrated about him is he used to play corner, so his cover skills are actually as good as a lot of people think he is. I've seen a lot of people say that he's not a fluent athlete or he doesn't have the greatest hips. I think that's the one thing that's kind of good about him. He had to get flipped from corner to safety due to the fact of I think there was a couple of kids that are better at that spot than him, but he's a guy that is a very good athlete and does have the hips, I think, to cover. And that's one thing that's very underrated about him. And my number five guys from LSU, Brandon Taylor, the guy who's a part of the best secondary in all of college football. One of the best secondaries I've probably seen in a long time, probably since I would say that '05 Texas team. that '05 Texas team, the DBs that they had on that team was phenomenal, and I think LSU could really rival that team on the talent they had, and he was the one main part of it. He's great in run stopping, a better zone cover guy than people give him credit for. Phenomenal in man, in my opinion. He'll fight you. A guy who could cover can cover running backs coming out the backfield. A guy who can cover tight ends. I think he struggles a little bit when he got the smaller guys on him, but like I said, he's a phenomenal guy, and I think he'll thrive on special teams as well. I think all these safeties will thrive, will be special teams players, just due to the fact of their nature of being very, very good football players. So my top 5 is Mark Barron, Harrison Smith, Markel Martin, Brandon Harden, and Brandon Taylor. Going on to my biggest faller, Delano Howell from Stanford. He was a guy who I thought could probably be a late first-round corner. Looked at a couple of tapes. I looked at that USC game especially. He really struggles when it comes to speed. He's not a guy that you would run. I think he's more of a strong safety, but he's not really a guy that will come up there and hit you. He's an average tackler, but for a guy that doesn't have very, very good covering skills, which I thought coming into the season that was really underrated about him until I watched a couple games, the USC and the Oregon game to be more exact. You could just see he was getting whooped on the defense, just playing in space. He's not a really good guy you like to have in space, but he's a guy that I really like a lot. My undervalued, underrated player to look out for is going to be Phillip Thomas from Syracuse. He's a guy that I was really pushing to be my number 4, number 5 in my top 5. I love the kid. He's a ball hawk, makes plays on the football all the time. You don't know about him a lot because he did get in a little bit of trouble, but he played for Syracuse, not really a football school. One of the guys who would stick their nose in there, a guy who could cover, like I said. He could cover the slot guys if he wanted to. He's very good as own guy, but I really like him a lot. And my sleeper, Jansen Jackson from McNeese State, formerly from Tennessee Volunteers. He was a guy who I thought that had top 5 potential as a safety or DB. He did get into trouble at Tennessee. The whole big thing that he got into, and then it just kept piling on, so they let him go. But I think that he had the chance to be one of the best DBs in the SEC as a freshman, as a true freshman. He was one of the best DBs in all the SEC, and to say that's really phenomenal for a true freshman. So I think he has the ability to be a phenomenal football player, and he has the best untapped potential out of anybody in this draft at the safety position. So those are my top 5. Those are my biggest fallers. I want to thank everybody for whoever paid attention and watched it, commented on my video series. I really appreciate you guys, and I'll definitely keep coming with the NFL videos. Let me know if you guys want to hear anything more, but yeah, I'll talk to you guys later. Thanks.